What's going on? What's going on, people? Welcome to the Progressive Action TV show. How you guys doing out there today? It's beautiful outside. This corona stuff is still going on. People still losing their lives. Other than that, what's going on? I'm start off with some advertisements today. Donations. If you want to donate to the Progressive Action platform via Cash App, it's Progressive Action 100. If you want to donate via PayPal, it is Progressive Action. I'd like to thank y'all for y'all donations. Like I said, they keep the platform afloat, allows me to do certain things or whatever the case is. But I'm here. Do y'all like my shirt? I like my shirt. It say, spread love, not corona. Spread love, not corona. Now, we're going to jump straight into it today. We're going to get into some IOD information, injured at work because of corona. Someone sent me this video. I found it to be very informational from retirees. They got businesses that help us during this whole pandemic, because a lot of people don't understand that we don't know what this virus may do to us 2, 3, 4 months, let alone 2, 3, 4, 5 years from now. And they pretty much explain this video in detail about what you could do to protect yourself. And I think you guys should watch it. Let's get into it. Hold on.
Hello, my name is Mark Alberton, and I'm a retired transit worker. For 27 years, I worked at New York City Transit as a union rep, and I'm getting a lot of phone calls from members, and they're complaining about being forced back to work, being forced to stay on the job while they've been exposed to COVID or have contracted COVID. So we're here to clear up a little bit of misinformation here tonight, or today, whichever one that you're watching, every time you're watching. And we're going to hear from licensed workers' comp rep Joe Fredrickson and attorney Jeffrey Schotter on this issue. Joe?
Thanks, Mark. I'm also a retired track equipment maintainer, and I spent many years as a local 100 union rep for the track division. Since retiring in 2005, I've represented hundreds of transit workers and other workers, both city workers and state workers and private sector workers, healthcare, construction, many industries, in all kinds of workers' compensation cases. I'm speaking to you at this time out of concern that there is so much misinformation, rumors, and lack of information that people most affected by the coronavirus are being bombarded with at this time. It's important for you to know that if you are affected by the epidemic, you are likely eligible for workers' compensation benefits in addition to any other benefits that may be available to you, such as pension, Social Security, line of duty payments. These benefits can be, depending on what your income was before the epidemic, the benefits can be as much as $900 a week or $48,000 a year. If you lost the breadwinner in your family, you may be entitled to payments for the rest of your life. Please get in touch with us, and we will take the time to do an in-depth consultation with you to discuss your specific circumstances. There is no charge for this consultation. Call me at 718-940-7476.
My name is Jeffrey Schotter. I've been practicing workers' compensation law for almost 8 years. I've handled all kinds of workers' compensation cases, but right now I want to talk about mental stress cases in particular. Even before this pandemic, very few people were aware that workers' compensation can cover not only physical injuries, but also mental injuries. Especially now in this pandemic, there is a mental and emotional pandemic that's alongside the virus pandemic. If you work in an essential capacity, if you operate a train or a bus, if you work in a hospital, for instance, you are aware, of course, that you're putting your life at risk every day, and you're also putting your family's life at risk. Not only can you catch this disease, you can also pass it on to anybody you live with. If you are affected psychologically or emotionally, if you're scared to go to work, if you don't feel like you can get up the next day, this may be a workers' compensation claim, even if you have not contracted the disease itself. If you feel like this applies to you, please give me a call at 347-413-9014. The consultation is free, and I will happily take your case and litigate it as far as I need to.
So there you heard it from the experts. Now you have some basic information and some phone numbers if you need help and to reach out for help. Remember, the number one enemy of all workers is misinformation. So for the correct information, you can call Licensed Workers' Compensation Rep Joe Fredrickson at 718-940-7476 or Attorney Jeffrey Schotter, 347-413-9014. Thank you, and please be safe.
So that was some good information about IODs and the corona. There's a lot of misinformation going on out there, like the gentleman said in the video. You can fill out an IOD for this. You know, that you don't expect the MTA or your employer to tell you that you could do this, but you can do this. Now, what I found out recently is that the MTA has been controverting our IOD claims, basically denying them. Now, I didn't expect anything different from an employer like that. You know, they don't care about our safety. I don't know how many times I have to say that, but they don't care about our safety. They just want these trains, these buses to move. They just want service, all types of service. And, you know, it's going to be a fight. Hopefully the workers' comp board do the correct thing regarding this. Now, Cuomo, he's been in the media almost every day. I've been calling him the media darling. And, you know, he's been putting out some information. But if you don't know about the information that he's putting out, you will take it as truth. Because the way Cuomo orates these messages, he speaks with confidence. He speaks with authority. He's calm. He's not all over the place. And it's easy to believe him. But if you're not knowledgeable of the information that he's putting out, you could get lost in the sauce of all this information. And I want to play this clip real quick of Cuomo doing something that is not facts. And he's claiming facts. I want to show you guys something.
Below the norm for New York City. Within the transit workers, it's a little higher with station workers than with bus operators or train conductors, assistant conductors. But all categories are below the New York City norm. The New York City norm was 19.9. So that is good news. And that also affirms the news we've heard on the other essential workers, frontline workers. Our healthcare workers, nurses, doctors, we were afraid that because they were literally in the emergency rooms, they'd have a higher infection rate. But it turns out that's not true. 12% was the infection rate among those workers. It shows that the PPE works when we talk about masks and gloves, et cetera. It's not that nurses.
Now, this is the thing. For those who don't know, they don't know about our jobs. So Cuomo had on the screen a list of occupations, and it says station workers, bus operators, conductors, and assistant conductors. Now, for everyone who works for New York City Transit, we know that we do not have assistant conductors. There's absolutely no assistant conductors in our job titles, just conductors. Now, in Long Island Railroad and Metro North, you have assistant conductors. Now, why would Cuomo do that? Cuomo had up there that the percent positive for conductors, assistant conductors, is 11%. Now, this is where the issues come in at, because Cuomo's data does not tell the entire story. In fact, he is watering down the truth. And this is the issue here with Cuomo. And like Cuomo says, everyone is entitled to their own opinion. Not everyone is entitled to their own facts. And these is Cuomo's opinion with these numbers. He is watering down the numbers to make things look like they're not that serious. Now, what happened is that if you have a high infection of New York City transit workers, let's say 8 out of 10 transit workers test positive for COVID-19. And when I say transit workers, I mean New York City Transit, right? 8 out of 10 workers. Cuomo probably say, wait, that number's too high. We can't put that percentage out. We can't put a percentage out like 80% of transit workers are testing positive. Conductors is testing positive for the virus. So what are we going to do? We're going to add all the conductors together. We're going to add Metro North and Long Island Railroad conductors with New York City Transit conductors. So what does that number do? If you have 8 out of 10 people who's testing positive, right? But then you add another 10 people where the infection rate isn't that high, because only one person has died between Long Island Railroad and Metro North the last time I count. When we had at the time, we had 50 plus deaths here. There wasn't no deaths at Long Island Railroad at the time or Metro North. So if you include those employees over there who may not test positive because they have better working conditions, they have better hours, they have better everything over there, it brings down our numbers. And the danger in bringing down our numbers is for Cuomo to try to, like I said, water down the truth, to make it look like, hey, it's not that bad here. You guys could come to work. We could continue to run service regular. It's all an illusion, and this is what they are trying to do. They trying to muddle the numbers to make it look like it's not that serious, so they can reopen. Without no transportation system, businesses fail. We are seeing that happen right now. Now, we are dying. They do not care if we are dying or not. That's not their concern. But it should be our concern. And we're going to talk about that a little later in the show, because there's a lot of stuff and misinformation going on as far as a lot of stuff, man. And nobody's really telling the truth out there. There's a few members that's on social media giving out correct information, and salute to you guys. Now, there has been this thing with the antibody test. And I'm going to break this down to show you how conniving and corrupt these politicians are. Our union administration, how they in line with the politicians to screw us for some reason. And I haven't seen the complete picture, but something is up. And I'm going to just put it out there. I mean, I see the complete picture, but I want you guys to see it also. So I'm going to break down this timeline of things that happened within the past month to make you say, whoa, yeah, something don't sound right. So Cuomo back in April announced that transit workers are going to be tested for antibody tests. A lot of people were happy about it. The union was applauding it. We're going to be treated, tested for antibodies or whatever the case is. Now, I never got that. For one, they don't know how this virus functions. We haven't got a complete cycle in this virus. And when I say complete cycle, we haven't went from season to season. We haven't went from winter to winter with this virus to even understand how it works. So out of nowhere, they started promoting this antibody test. Antibodies, 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 antibodies. All right. There's no scientific data out there that says with COVID-19, if you have the antibodies, that you will be immune for life or you will be immune for 3 months. That information just isn't there yet because we getting the information in real time. And like I said, we haven't went from cycle to cycle with this virus. Make sure y'all good. Hold on. Yeah, we haven't went from cycle to cycle with this virus. So the antibody tests really don't mean anything because there's no data to say if you have antibodies that you will continue to fight this or you will fight this in the future. So I never got that. But on this piece of paperwork here, if you look at the bottom, on April 14th, and on a couple of, like I said, Cuomo's live feeds during that time and press conferences, they expanded the antibody testing to MTA employees. This is from April 14th, this letter. Now, this is when things start getting strange. On May 11th, our union, Local 100, put out a screenshot of an email. And it says that effective May 13th, we are expanding our COVID-19 antibody testing for all MTA employees and have partnered with Northwell Health. Now, if you look at the highlighted section of this paper, it says the test results will be shared with MTA and kept confidential. Now, I didn't understand that. Why would the MTA need to know of our personal health if we're going to the doctor for our own personal well-being? You know, if something is open to some for people without no restrictions, why do I have to report to you guys the results of my test, or why should Northwell promote to you guys the results of my test? Now, I need you guys to pay attention. This was sent Monday, May 11th at 2020 at 9:47 p.m. Now, on the union website, this same email pops up, but it was amended to say something else. And what you see in the red, the same thing that was highlighted in the last screenshot I put up. If you look in the red says the test results will be shared with the MTA and kept confidential unless declined by the employee. See, this is where things get strange at. Both are the same emails, same date, same time, but one says the test results will be shared with the MTA and kept confidential, period. The second email says the test results will be shared with the MTA and kept confidential unless declined by the employee. So which one is it? I don't get it. Which one is it? It's either they could give our test results to the MTA with impunity, they don't have to get our consent, or they get our consent and they could use the results or get reported the results or whatever the case is. Which one is it? I'm trying to figure it out. Now, I feel that all this stuff is against HIPAA law, especially if you don't consent to let your job know if you have this virus or not. Because if you let them know that you have this virus, what's going to happen? Are they going to put you out of work? Are they going to send you home with pay? What are they going to do? So now with this extra language added that said, once again, unless declined by the employee, then this happened. Antibody testing through BioReference Labs canceled today after May 11th. Now the program disappears once they have to get our consent to share our results with the MTA. Don't you guys find that to be very strange? Don't you guys find that to be strange? And on an overall aspect of this whole antibody testing, they have sent the antibody testing to more communities of color than the actual test to tell us to quarantine, stay away from family, or whatever the case is. I find that strange, very strange, when it comes to blood. They ready to give us these antibodies tests. But when it came to the actual test itself, the non-invasive test, basically, where you're not drawing blood, but you're dealing with mucus or whatever the case is, they didn't really care about that. We must keep our eyes open. But look, after that, like I said, May 12th, the program magically becomes suspended. Why do you guys think that is? And then this was the explanation from the MTA themselves, from MTA Chief Safety Officer Pat Warren. He said, due to high demand for antibody testing, Northwell Health, Go Health, Urgent Care will not be able to provide testing at this time. We hope to have this issue resolved shortly. We apologize for any inconvenience. Appointments previously scheduled for this week will not proceed. We will be in touch as soon as additional information becomes available. Why is that? And that email, which you see on the screen, was mailed out today. Why do you guys think that is? I mean, hold on one second. Before I move forward, I forgot to tell you, I need you guys to share out the video. All this information is important. We don't need no more weak links. We need to let the people know everything that's going on. We have people watching live right now on Facebook. We have people watching live right now on YouTube. We have people watching live right now on Twitter. If you're watching on any one of those platforms, please share out the information. Please share out the show. This isn't only for MTA workers. This is for family and friends also. We must educate our coworkers and we must educate the general public as to what's really going on here. But now, like I said, the chief safety officer said that they suspended it because of high demand. Now, what I find strange is this. I went back to the doctor today. I actually went to City MD. I went to get retested. The first thing that they asked me when I got there was, do you want the antibody test? I declined it, of course. Once again, I find it strange that they are more willing to draw my blood than to see if I'm still infected with the virus. I find that strange. But I declined it, and I took the regular COVID test. If there's a shortage of antibody tests, wouldn't you think that shortage would be citywide and not exclusive to Northwell Health? There's something up with that. And I need you guys to think. Let's think for a second. Now, if we're supposed to be essential workers and we're supposed to get this test and they made Northwell Health exclusive to us, why didn't they make sure that they had enough of these tests at Northwell? Don't you guys see something strange with that? Like I said, I went to City MD today. Why the other urgent care facilities is not facing the same high demand? In fact, when I went there, it wasn't even packed. I was in and out in probably like 20, 25 minutes, right? And if there was a shortage, why did they offer me that first if there was a shortage? It absolutely makes no sense. But let's rewind back a couple of weeks. Cuomo made an exclusive deal with Northwell Health. What did this deal contain? None of us will ever know. But I told you guys over a month ago that I found it strange that Cuomo will open Northwell Health to us up exclusively instead of making all the urgent care facilities exclusive to us. I found that to be very strange. And we must ask ourselves, what kind of under the table deal did Cuomo make with Northwell Health pertaining to our antibodies? Because now I find it strange, again, that they took the test off the table and claimed it on some high demand as soon as we had the choice to say if the MTA could get our test results or not. I found that to be very strange. Was this part of the deal that Cuomo made with Northwell Health and trying to obtain our antibodies in our blood? Is there some type of under the deal table regarding that? And what's the likelihood of a coincidence that as soon as we get the choice to say, hey, you can't get my antibody test results, and them suspending the program 2 days later? Something to think about. And we need to think about it. I think that there is something deep out there that we don't know about. Why do these people want our antibodies so bad when we don't know what the antibodies mean? Are we still protected? Why do they want our blood so bad? It's crazy. Let's look at another video from Cuomo, because I'm going to show you guys that Cuomo knew what was going on. The union knew what was going on. And they just used us as guinea pigs. I totally believe that they allowed this virus to thrive. I believe that on a certain level. They wanted this virus to thrive on a certain level. They want to put these death numbers in the media for a reason. It's to create the fear. And when you create fear in people, they more willing to do things that they normally wouldn't do. You can't just come up to someone and say, hey, let me get your blood. They probably look at you like you crazy. Now you create this whole atmosphere of fear, and you say, hey, we want to give you an antibody test, aka we want to get your blood. People are going to be running down there because they want to know what's going on. And it shows what is really going on. It's deeper and it's more sinister than what we really think. But if you read and you're woke and you understand the real meaning of life, you will understand. But let's play this clip from Cuomo.
Say to them, I thank them for the service that they've been doing. Again, I feel very passionately about the frontline workers, the essential workers who have been showing up every day. Nobody wanted to stay home, but you know what's worse than staying home? Going to work in the middle of this pandemic when nobody even knew what the virus was about or how contagious it was, and they still showed up. They still showed up to manage the prison system. I'm glad the results we've seen show.
Now, this is from Cuomo press conference today, and he was actually talking about the correction officers in the state, but this really applied to everyone. He said, Cuomo admitted that workers were going to work in the middle of a pandemic when not knowing what the virus was about or how contagious it was. He said that we didn't know what the virus was about or how contagious it was. Now, by him saying that, why did the agency that he controlled, the MTA, take a stance of, we're not giving you PPE? Wouldn't it have made more sense to be safe than sorry? Let's just say that this coronavirus was a little bit more harsh than a common cold. And let's just say that the MTA really cared about their workers and they gave out look, wear PPE, buy your own PPE. We go and give you PPE. We don't care as long as you protect yourselves. Because like Cuomo said, nobody knew how contagious it was or what the virus was about. So if the MTA would have gave us PPE from the beginning until they figured out what this virus was about, and the virus just ended up being a little bit worse than a common cold, then what would have happened? The worst thing that could have happened was that they have to buy more PPE. But they took a stance of seeing what this virus was doing in other countries, because that's what we got the World Wide Web for. You could just Google at the time what was going on with the virus and how it was killing people and things of that nature. Why didn't they issue us PPE just to be safe if they didn't know how deadly this virus was or what this virus was about or how contagious it was? Why did they not give us PPE? And to be clear, it's not about 125. We lost over 125 workers so far. It's not about the 125 workers that we lost. It's about the 125 families that was affected. Yes, 125 individuals died because of the MTA poor response, the governor poor response, and Local 100, our union, poor response. And our union isn't alone. We see nurses union, they dropped the ball. A lot of unions dropped the ball. And if you notice, a lot of unions who is cool with the governor dropped the ball, and they fail to hold Cuomo accountable yet, as of yet. So 125 individuals died. 125 families was affected. So people got large families. They lose the breadwinner of the head of household, a person who have 4 or 5 kids and 10 grandkids. You affected all those people. So it's not really all about the individual lives that was lost. It's also about the families. And these guys' poor decisions affected plenty of families. Yes, 125 plus people have died, but they may have affected thousands and thousands and thousands of family members because of this. And this is something that needs to be brought to light. And during this pandemic, I don't know how many times I have to say it. Not only did the MTA not provide us PPE, they told us we cannot wear PPE, especially if you're in the title with a uniform. They actually wrote down that wearing a mask is against uniform policy. Now, they didn't blatantly say that you're going to get written up if you put on that mask, but everyone knows that if you wear a mask and it's against policy, and anything against policy will result in discipline. So you don't have to tell me I'm going to discipline you for me to read between the lines and say, hey, that's against policy. It means that if we violate policy, we're going to get disciplined. And everybody know that the breaking policy leads to strict, heavy-handed, punitive discipline. That's one thing the MTA do not lack in. It's disciplining their employees. They don't care about corrective discipline. They only care about punitive discipline. If this whole pandemic was named, if coronavirus was a person that kept breaking the rules, the transit authority would have took care of it ASAP, because they are specialists in discipline. And this is a fact. They are specialists in discipline. Now, I want to talk about this cleaning that's going on. I'm going to play this video real quick, and I want you guys to watch it. We're going to discuss it real briefly. Hold on one second. Okay, let me play it real quick. Now there we was watching a video of some contractors. They was cleaning the trains. You see about 7 of them there running through the trains and wiping them down and, you know, things of that nature. Now, this is the thing. Everybody, you know, saying, oh, contractors is here, contractors is here, contractors is here. Yes, contractors are here. The issue is that these contractors been on the property for the better part of 3 years, up under Utano administration. So this ain't the first time that these cleaning contractors was here. They was doing this deep cleaning for a long time, and the union rolled over for Cuomo regarding these deep cleanings. Now, this is the issue, and this is the truth. The trains are being cleaned better. And it's simple as to why the trains are being cleaned better. It's because they got more personnel. They set up our cleaners, our brother and sister cleaners to fail. Anybody knows why the trains are so dirty. The trains are dirty because the MTA won't staff the cleaners properly. You know, when you have, it was times where I was working my line and I asked the cleaner, you know, who you out here with? And be like, yo, I'm here by myself. So you got one person to clean 2 pockets, all these train cars. How much could they really do? And the MTA been cutting cleaners through attrition for a little minute now. And what's strange is that they cut the cleaners through attrition, but they've been hiring more contractors. They've been getting more contracts from contractors to do the cleaning. And it makes sense. It makes sense business-wise to do that because they don't have to pay a pension. They don't have to pay health benefits. If they don't want someone on the property, if an MTA boss come and say, hey, you know, this worker wasn't working right, they could get let go ASAP. They can't really do that here when you got a union. And that is the issue. That is the issue. So, yes, the cleaners was put here to fail. If you don't got the manpower to do the proper job, then how can you do the job? And now look what's going on in the media. Look on Twitter. You have customers saying, hey, the trains are being cleaned better. The service, I never seen trains this clean before. So now you have customers also asking what was going on before. The cleaners wasn't doing their job. Now the MTA hired these contractors and all of a sudden the train's getting clean. You know what? Y'all should just keep the contractors because they do a better job than the cleaners. That's not fair because you could go to any terminal where there are not any contractors. You're going to see no more than 2-3 cleaners to clean 8 to 10 car trains. Impossible while they're in the pocket. Unless those trains going to be in the pocket for at least an hour each. Them trains is not going to get clean good. When you got contractors who's putting 8 to 10 people per car, you could run through a train in no time. One person take the poles, one person take the floor, one person take the seats, one person take the doors. The other 3 people take everything that's missed. That's how it should be. People been getting sick because of the subway system. Why wasn't these trains been cleaned on this level? Why did the MTA allow this to happen? Why did they cut cleaners? These are the questions that need to be asked, and they not being asked because we got a union administration who's in line with management. They set the cleaners up to fail, and the plan is happening right before our eyes. The plan is coming to fruition right before our eyes. Now I want to touch on this video that I seen happen at Stillwell not too long ago, and I need you guys to listen to the words of this video. Listen to the words of this video. I'm going to point something out to you guys. Check it out.
When I saw the news that we had 61 of our members die, you know, and that's what brought water from my eyes. And the first thing I thought about is, you know, is that we're all in this together. You know, we all come to work, never expect to be doing something like this. We all want to get home to our families. And then what happened, our anxiety level is so high, you know, and we lean on each other for support. And, you know, if you talk about unity, this is real unity when the transit workers, the members, lean on each other for support. I went to locations and hear members speaking to each other about what they do when they get home, how to take care of themselves and their families. That is real support. You know, when this whole thing started in January, the president and us, we sat down at the table with the New York City bus and subway heads up and fight with these bastards. You know, if they had listened to us, you know, we would be in a better place today. I'm only Earl Phillips. This is only Tony Utana. You know, we are not Jesus Christ. You know, we don't know who's going to die tomorrow. We don't predict that. But we know if you listen to us and work collectively with us, we'll be in a better place together. But again, we're in this together. We're going to bring the troops home together. You know, and as the president said, whoever comes again down the road as the president, we're going to set a foundation here to continue to build on. You know, so again, I can't thank you so much. You know, it's painful, you know, but practice safe distancing. When you get to work and you don't have the correct PPE, you know, just ask for your PPE. You know, these clothes that you're working in, do not take them in your house. Don't take them in your house, guys. When you get home, put them in a bag. You're right. Take off your shoes, clean them, you know, spray them. Don't take these in your house, otherwise you will destroy your families. You know, you have to adjust from yesteryear to today. If not, you will destroy your whole families. We didn't get a lot of education in this when we first began, but we learn from each other. So thank you so much. Stay safe.
Every time I hear that, like I get upset because I'm confused as to what are we really doing here. And I'm lost on this. Earl Phillips said, and I'm going to read it. He said, if they had listened to us, and he talking about Data, MTA, if they had listened to us, we would have been in a better place today. I'm only Earl Phillips. This is only Tony Utano. We are not Jesus Christ. So, first of all, what does Jesus Christ have to do with stopping unsafe work? Can somebody tell me that? What does Jesus Christ have to do with stopping unsafe work? Why did they allow this unsafe work to happen? He said that if they would have listened to us, we would have been in a better place today. So the MTA did not listen to Earl Phillips, who is the Secretary Treasurer of Local 100, one of the top 4, along with Tony Utano, Latanya Crisp, and Nelson Rivera. If the MTA would have listened to us, we would have been in a better place today. So the MTA did not listen to him. And at that time, they had, I think he said 60-something deaths. So they didn't listen at 60-something deaths in the beginning. They say went to the MTA, spoke to him, 60 deaths later, we would have been in a better place. We are at double that right now, 120-something deaths. And there still was not no work stoppage on unsafe work. And he's right. You cannot predict who's going to die today or tomorrow. You can't predict that. But what you can predict is stopping unsafe work if the MTA don't do the right thing. You can't predict that. And they didn't do anything about that. They didn't do nothing about that. You can't predict stopping unsafe work. You can go to the MTA and say, hey, if you guys don't provide this for my workers, you're not going to have service tomorrow. You can't predict that. For him to say, I'm only Tony, I'm Earl Phillips, he's only Tony Utano, we are not Jesus Christ, that's a cop-out. And this is the type of leadership that we are dealing with. And this is the type of leadership that we have to get away from. We must educate ourselves on these players, these people who has taken us through the gauntlet to get our heads cut off. This is why I tell you guys every show, share out these shows to your coworkers, to your friends, to your family. The more people that's educated, the stronger that we are. This is what our union leadership is saying. if the MTA would have listened to us. We would have been in better shape. The MTA didn't listen. And you continue to let us go out there and work unsafe. This shows you who interests they really have at heart. It's not mine's. It's not yours. It's not your family's. It's not your friends. They are catering to the elite. They are catering to Cuomo. They are catering to all these billion-dollar companies that reside in New York City, in which they need the subway systems to run to bring them customers. That's whose side the union really is on. What have they done to protect the living workers? Yes, you get $500,000 after you die. What do you get being alive and working in these conditions? What do you get after testing positive and being a victim of COVID and trying to recover for working for this agency? What is the union stance on that? What is their stance on that? Let's get into Utano's speech. Let's listen to this.
You guys are heroes, and you're doing a job to get people. You're saving lives. We are saving lives because we are getting people to where they got to go. Think about this. If our workers weren't doing this and the train system stopped, how would the delivery people who stock the shelves or the nurses or the doctors get to where they got to go to help not only people's families, their own families, our kids, our mothers, our fathers, everybody. That's what I'm saying. You're doing the work of a hero, and you should be proud of it. You guys are heroes, and you.
Did y'all hear that garbage? Did y'all hear that garbage? Utano have no passion, and he has no clue. He has been MIA for the majority of this pandemic. The only reason he came out is to hide behind the MTA again, because this is when the cleaning first started with the overnight cleaning, where they shutting down the subways at nighttime. His administration as a collective did not do anything to teach members how to protect themselves in this pandemic. And I'm not talking about, just put on a mask and gloves and regurgitate everything that the CDC say, everything that Cuomo say. We're not talking about that. We're not talking about the regurgitation. We're talking about the union, what a union is really here for. How can members protect themselves against abusive management during this pandemic? What are members to do if the MTA do not provide proper PPE? How to fill out a safety rule dispute resolution form? How to protect ourselves politically on this property? They didn't do any of that. They all dropped the ball. And there was a reason. There was a reason why they did not do anything regarding that. Don't get it twisted. There was a reason for that. And then I find it mighty strange that this pops up. So now the union is automatically about hazard pay. TWU Local 100 says hazard pay now. Now, what amazes me about this whole thing, now they're about to go on a hazard pay campaign. Do I believe we deserve hazard pay? We sure do. We deserve hazard pay. We deserve all types of differential pay. We deserve real night differential too. But do we deserve hazard pay? Yes, we do. Now, we just had a contract that wasn't negotiated on time. The contract may have went about 7-8 months past its due date. And not one time was hazard pay mentioned during our contractual negotiations. Why? We've been working in hazards before this pandemic. You know, and it took a pandemic to say that MTA workers deserve hazard pay. It took a pandemic for them for the governor and the president to realize that healthcare opportunities is not the same in minority communities, black communities, as it is in other communities. It took a pandemic for them to see that. It shouldn't have taken a pandemic for our union leaders to see that we deserve hazard pay. Where was this talk of hazard pay during the contract? And the only reason that Utano feel comfortable talking about hazard pay is because Cuomo is trying to get it from Trump. Now, if Cuomo was in charge of this hazard pay, I could guarantee you Utano won't say anything about hazard pay. He's afraid of Cuomo. This is fact. Cuomo is really a gangster. He's really a bully. He plays the game and he know how to play it well. And it's easy when you're dealing with people who don't really know or who's not really built like that. Cuomo is built like that. And to be honest, yes, I criticize Cuomo all the time, right? I do all of that. But he's doing what he has to do for himself and his people. I can't be mad at that. Why isn't the union doing what they got to do for us? Why the union not doing? If the union was doing what they got to do with us, I wouldn't care. But the union is not doing what they got to do for us. Once again, the union is doing what they got to do for Cuomo, the top 1%, and these billion-dollar companies. They have not 1 ounce of transit worker empathy. Not one. They it's like they get elected and they forget that they was transit workers. They think that they are part of Cuomo cabinet. Like, you would think that Utano was Cuomo top aide. He has yet to criticize or hold, I won't even say criticize. Utano has yet to hold Cuomo responsible for any one of these deaths yet. He has yet to hold Cuomo responsible for the late reaction with MTA workers regarding this pandemic. It's quite clear who runs the MTA. It's Cuomo. It's Cuomo. And like I said, the only reason that Utano feel comfortable, hazard pay for workers, is because they playing the Peter pay Paul method. The union want to say, hey, we fought hazard pay for you guys. And it's like a shot in the dark. Because if we don't get it, they can say they tried. If we do get it, they can say they got it for us. But they didn't get it for us. They did not get anything for us. First of all, why are we only relying on the federal government to get us hazard pay? The last time I checked my pay stub, I get city taxes taken out my check, I get state taxes taken out of my check, and I get federal taxes taken out of my check. If you ask me, all 3 of those entities owe us hazard pay. I'm paying taxes to all 3 entities. We deserve hazard pay from all 3 entities. We are not going to let Cuomo get away with this. Cuomo should front us the hazard pay and get his back in from Trump and the federal government. That's how it should work. That's the action that I'm talking about. If he really cared about the living and want the living to continue to do this work that's obviously putting us in graves, front us the money, front us the hazard pay. Put your action where your mouth is. Do it. The reporter's not asking him the right questions. I don't want to hear, the state will be bankrupt and this and that. I don't want to hear that. You just gave yourself a raise. How about this? If the state will be bankrupt and you really care about the state, why don't you reduce your salary back to what it was before you gave yourself like a 20-30% raise? Why don't you do that? You are about this, Cuomo, and you know it. And you know it. He has shown us no gratitude. His gratitude only lie in words. That's it. Just eliminate his words. What is his action? The only thing you hear is hero this, hero that. We couldn't do this without the MTA. If we would have shut down the subways, more people would have died. The frontline workers couldn't have did anything without you guys. Forget that. Where is the action? And I got a little story. You know, Cuomo like to get into these stories. You know one thing. You know, my grandfather, very knowledgeable man, still alive today. My grandfather always tell me, grandson, actions speak louder than words. And he's right. Action speaks louder than words. So the question I asked Cuomo, where is your action for MTA workers? Where is your action? Forget your words. And Utano has failed to hold Cuomo accountable during this entire pandemic. Thousands of workers were sick. Over 125 workers have died. Thousands of family members affected. Not one mumbling word from Utano to Cuomo on his accountability in this matter. Something is up. And I found this today. Generous leave. So this was in the Wall Street Journal. And I came across the article today, and Feinberg has said this. She said that we continue to take every step possible to protect our employees both at home and at work, including offering a generous leave package with up to 4 weeks of paid time off linked to COVID-19 before an employee would need to access any of their regular sick pardon me, family, medical leave, or personal time. Ms. Feinberg said in a statement, have any of you guys heard of generous, what she called it? A generous leave package? And where's this? Who's being offered this generous leave package? It's definitely not bus operators, train operators, conductors, cleaners, barn workers. It's not none of us. Who's being offered this generous leave package? Is it upper management? You know, the MTA know exactly what they're doing. It don't take long to institute a new policy. You guys do it with bulletins every other day. If you guys were serious about this, this would be on the table right now. There would have been a memo on this yesterday. But what the MTA is waiting on, they waiting on this whole thing to die down, probably 2021, to institute this generous leave package. If they really wanted this done, this would have been done yesterday. They know workers are using up their sick time. They know workers are using up their vacation time. Some workers are going without pay. They don't want to do this. And they dragging their feet on purpose. I'm really surprised that she said this. I have never heard about it. I have never heard about it. Now, for those who just joined us, I need you guys to, if you want to donate to the show, Progressive Action 100, that is the Cash App. If you want to donate on PayPal, the PayPal is Progressive Action. I should know this by heart already, right? It's crazy. I can't remember this. But I want to tell you guys this. And I need you guys to remember this. I know a lot of people is not into politics and really don't want to do politics, and they feel that, you know, they want to stay away from politics, but we are in a political job, a political atmosphere. So you can't say that you don't care about politics, If you don't care about politics, you don't care how much you get paid, you don't care about your union, you don't care about your health care, everything is controlled by a politician. You don't care about the assaults, you don't care about your kids' education, you don't care about travel, everything is about politics. Now, in New York State, the highest political position in the state is the governor. The lowest political position in the state is the rank and file worker. I'm going to say that again. The highest political position in New York State is the governor. The lowest political position in New York State is the rank and file worker. Specifically speaking, us MTA workers, we haven't been exercising our political power in years. It's about time that we change that. You guys have a good day. I'll catch y'all later. Peace.